Hello guys, welcome back to another video of mine. This is your match review for Tottenham 1, Chelsea 1, Carabao Cup 4th round review. We lost 5-4 on penalties. Obviously it's been 2 days since the game, so I have managed to calm down a bit. I was very disappointed after the game. It was just what we've seen so many times, what we've seen over and over again of just every single time we seem to play the top six teams or our rivals, we seem to panic or be scared of them. We saw it with Liverpool for the entirety of that game. Really, I can understand with 10 men if you're, sitting back and trying to defend what you have, but we were 1-0 up against Spurs, cruising. We were in complete control of the game. We went in at half-time 1-0. It probably should have been more. We should have killed the game off. This has been our problem for a long time. We don't kill games off, and we always give the opposition a chance to get back into the game, because we're not clinical enough, and that was the case on Tuesday, and especially the second half was what really annoyed me. The fact that we just dropped 5 yards and just said to Spurs, yeah, just have chances, have the ball, dominate the game. You do that to any team, let alone Tottenham, with the players they have. They brought on Lucas Moura, they brought on Harry Kane. They are going to score. As I said, it could be anyone, let alone Spurs. You give any team that amount of time on the ball, that much, space, that many chances, they will score eventually, and they did. Penalty shootout to penalty shootout. It's a lottery. Mason Mount missed. Professional footballers really shouldn't be missing penalties from 12 yards out, which is the keeper to beat, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna be too disappointed about a penalty shootout. You win some, you lose some. It's not, a big deal, but I was disappointed to be lost. For those of you that know me personally, I put up a couple of stories on my Instagram where I made a couple of points about Frank Lampard. Now I'm going to do a separate video on this where I talk about it in more detail, but I basically made the point that and this is my personal opinion, I know I probably will get, for any fellow Chelsea fans who may watch this, I will probably get some stick, and people will probably disagree with me, but that's, you're entitled to disagree with me. But I think that Frank Lampard just looks a bit out of his depth at Chelsea. I think we hired him way too soon. I don't think there was much thought that went into it. I think it was just a crowd pleaser, just to make a fan base that was unhappy, let's be honest. I know we won the Europa League the year before Frank was appointed under Sarri, but a lot of fans were unhappy with the style of football that we played. Some of the matches, remember, we lost 6-0 to Man City. I think we lost almost every single game we played away at a top six side that year. I remember we lost 6-0 to Man City. We lost 3-1 to Tottenham at Wembley. We lost 2-0 to Arsenal. We drew at Old Trafford, but the point is there that the style of football was poor, and some of the results were really, really poor. So it was an unhappy fan base that was getting a bit on edge, and I think Frank was appointed to, as I said, appease an unhappy fan base, and I don't think much thought process was gone into, his lack of managerial experience, and that's, I don't want to. People are going to use the point about, it's only his second year. Not even his second year. He's only starting his second season in charge and his third year as a manager, which is true. But just some of his decision making is just, it baffles me at times. It really, really does. I know he's learning, but me, you, even your average Joe that watches the game can see that these things just don't need to be happening. Like why he plays Mason Mount every single game, no matter how well or good he plays, he will always start. Why Marcos Alonso keeps playing, why he's so, why he just signings like Edouard Mendy. He could have easily played against West Brom on Saturday. Ben Chilwell, he could have easily played on Saturday. Kurt Zouma should have played on Saturday. These players weren't even in the squad. And I just think, I'm going to make the point, I think Frank Lampard he's too afraid of losing his job. And he takes the safe option all the time. I notice him in his match interviews. He's very diplomatic. He doesn't say much. He doesn't give much away. I can respect that because journalists and the British media can be ruthless and can ask some. They're like fishermen trying to lure fish with bait. Journalists will try to lure Frank with bait of questions that he knows that if he answers, will probably put him in a bit of a predicament. But yeah, he's just it's too. I think he's too safe, and he's whenever we play certain games, he will set up a certain way. Like I mentioned, when we play the top teams, he will sit back and be negative because he feels like, oh well, if I play the safe option, if I get a draw or if we nick a 1-0, it'll keep my job. I feel the same situation happens with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. That's just my opinion. I think Frank's he looks a bit out of his depth. He doesn't know what his best 11 is. He doesn't know. His in-game management is very poor. He doesn't know what substitutes to make. He doesn't know when to make them at the necessary times. And yeah, that's just my opinion. I just think there wasn't much thought process went into the actual hiring of him, and I just think it was a bit too sentimental for him. That's just my opinion. I hope he can change my mind, but I'm just not really filled with much joy watching us at the moment. We have a very good squad. We bought very well. Sorry, before I move off Frank Lampard, last year he had a free hit because he couldn't sign anyone. He had a transfer ban. He'd lost his best player, or our best player, in Eden Hazard, and he was using all these youth players who were championship quality players really. So he had a bit of a free hit. He had there was no pressure on him. But this year there is pressure on him. He's been backed by the board. We've brought in a number of new signings, good quality signings. He now has to get the best out of them. He now has to get them playing as a team. And I don't see that. I know we're early on in the season, but I don't see this team playing as a team. There's a lot of individuality. There's a lot of selfishness. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But watching Chelsea, especially this week, has been a tough watch. But we'll move on. Going back to the Spurs game, yeah, it was very disappointing. We should have won the game. We were in complete control, as I mentioned earlier. We sat back, we let them come on us. They scored with about 6-7 minutes left. They deserved the goal, but didn't have much to do with their play because we allowed them to do that. We allowed them to come at us. We allowed them time on the ball. We allowed them opportunities. And as I said, they're going to score. I always like to use the point that it's like if someone keeps pulling a belt, the more they pull it, it's going to break. And it's similar to the way Tottenham, the more you give them chances, the closer they get to the goal, they will score eventually. And that's what happened. And we let ourselves down. I was, just very disappointed. And we're out of the cup now. Probably one of our only kind of main chances to win a trophy this season. And that's now gone. So we now put more pressure on ourselves to compete in the league, FA Cup and the Champions League. Now, trying to get onto a lighter note, the Champions League draw was made today. This is why I waited till this evening to make the video so that I could see the draw and see who we got. So the draw, as I said, the draw was made, and let's just say we can thank our lucky stars and thank whoever did the draw for giving us the draw or giving us the teams that we have, because we got a very nice group, a very, very nice group. So we were in pot 2. So the first team came out was Sevilla, who won the Europa League last year. They were the kind of top seed in our group. Now, when you look at some of the teams that were in the top group, the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, of all the teams we could have got, I think we did well to get Sevilla. Now, Sevilla are a very good team. They obviously won the Europa League, and I remember they watching the Super Cup against Bayern Munich, they took them all the way to extra time and probably could have won. So they are a good side. It's not going to be an easy game, but out of all the teams that we could have got as the top seed, I think they would have been the ones that we were kind of hoping for. The other teams in the group were Krubin Krasnodar. They're a Russian team. I really don't know too much about them, but they were in it this year, and they were another side that we would have been looking at and going, yeah, we would like them in our group. So we got them as well, which is good for us. And we got Stade Rennais, which is where we signed Edouard Mendy from, as the last team in our group. So 3 very, very winnable games. If we don't get out that group, then there are going to be some serious questions asked, but I think we have to be overall very, very pleased with the draw that we got, and hopefully we can progress to the knockout stage of the Champions League and, see how we get on with it this season. So yeah, I think that's it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please drop it a like. Subscribe if you're new around here or you enjoy the content. Please, if you can, share the content. I want to try and grow the channel as much as I can, so if you can share it, I would really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I will have the preview for the Crystal Palace game out. Try and get it out tomorrow, if not Saturday morning. So I'll see you then, guys, and take care.